All right, guys. So, over the course of our reading of Toni Morrison's Beloved, we've made note time and time again of her incredibly powerful poetic language. Her use of literary devices like symbolism, foreshadowing, metaphors, personification, all means to get across these overarching themes of the narrative. Through her language, we understand that these ideas embedded throughout the story, like memory, motherhood, slavery, imagination, love, death, they all have deeper meanings. Before we move into the found poetry activity that I have for you today, which I'll explain more in detail in just a little bit, I want to take a second to reflect back on three different separate lines that are extremely powerful and symbolic and appeared separately throughout the story. And you see them right here. So at one point, Setha says 124 was spiteful. Later on, she says that 124 was loud, and she says that 124 was quiet. Reading them in this way, though, I just want you to start thinking about the added impact that words can have when they're moved around or highlighted and then created in a different format. So I have them here visually, just three lines. 124 is spiteful, 124 is loud, 124 is quiet. What do these lines mean individually and together? We know that the house of 124 is symbolic of Beloved's ghost, the ghost that was spiteful, loud, and quiet. If you look back into your text to the pages that we annotated earlier on, you'll see that these three lines appear differently at different times, and I literally just cut and pasted them into this format. So think about this. Is there an added benefit in looking at them in this way, in isolation from the surrounding narrative and characters? Probably, right? Does what you see on the screen right now remind you of a piece of poetry, even? That gets at the activity that we're going to do today. It's called found poetry, if you haven't guessed. How many of you, just out of curiosity, have heard of found poetry before? A few of you? Good. So these examples may look familiar. As you can see here, someone took an original text, an existing passage of a text, and created something new. They literally found a poem. What I want you to create today, using not the text of Beloved or Morrison's original words, but your words from journal entries of your Inside 124 journals that we've been keeping up with throughout the Beloved unit. Whatever you create can be as artistic or as simple as you want. You see here that the text on the left, this student just highlighted words that they wanted to make and find their poem, whereas the one on the right is a little bit more artistic. They actually created an image of the words that they found. I know that you guys have spent a lot of time working in your journals this semester, and those original responses and prose have so much imagination and value already. By using your own journals as a place to create a newfound poem, I think, at least I hope, that you'll realize that the words, descriptions, and explanations that you already have written down can be made into poetry just as easily as the words as author Toni Morrison. Before we begin, there are a couple of things that I want to make you aware of that might help you when you're creating your newfound poem. So, first, excuse me, it's often helpful to circle or highlight the strongest verbs, nouns, and adjectives in your original piece, and then disregard, even X out the rest. If you find that once you pick the journal prompt to focus on that you're struggling with what word to begin with, try using the first word you wrote. You also don't want to forget about verb tense, right? It's okay to add words in this case or edit your original piece to keep the grammatical tense consistent. I definitely want you to have a title on this poem. And then, of course, keep in mind all the themes and literary elements that we've already discussed. This poem will definitely be free versed, but because of the context of your responses, as being ones that were related to the novel, I think that you will find that the entries in your journal include many of the same themes that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. So, if you haven't done so already, take out your Inside 124 journals and the list of prompts that I gave you at the beginning of the unit for your journals. These are all prompts that are really just suggestions if you have not already thought of a specific prompt or journal entry that you'd like to focus on, because you can pick anything. Um, what was the most enjoyable for you to write, the most memorable. These right here, again, they're all on the sheet that you have in front of you. They're all just kind of starting points if you don't already have one in mind. Prompts specifically that I think target a specific theme that hopefully you can embed or extract out of your journal entries to create your newfound poem. So that's that. You guys have 25 to 30 minutes in class right now to create your found poem. If we end up needing or wanting a little more time, no worries, we can definitely do that. I would like everyone, however, by the end of the period, to at least retype the words of their finished found poem into a Google Doc that I've already shared with you already. When you do this, you definitely don't need to attach your name. They can certainly be anonymous. And then my hope is, if we have time at the end of the period, which I think we will, we're going to go through a second round of found poetry, this time as an entire class. So using the poems that you all individually in your own journal entries in the order as they appear in the Google Doc, we're going to create a new found poem going through the same process that you all did individually to create your individual found poems. And then, I think it'd be really cool if our finished product as a class we can hang up somewhere around the room. So I'll ask at the end of the period, or you guys can come up to me at the end of the day if you want to volunteer to come in either today or tomorrow after school to rewrite and paint our finished product on canvas. All right, so that's that. Have at it. You're all poets. Open your journals and find the poem.